時間かったらいいけど、はい、絶対。
And that's normal pricing?
Yeah, that's totally normal.
I thought we were taking them off oxygen when we pull them out of the cocoon, but clearly they can still live.
Okay, I did.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.
Oh my god, no, is that scale? Is there bones in this?
Top 10 Weirdest Foods People Actually Eat. This video will make you cringe in disgust because you are about to see 10 of the weirdest and borderline disturbing foods and delicacies worldwide. There's food that has poop in it, food with live maggots and snakes, and even food that might take your life if you chew it wrongly. You might want to brace yourself. Kasumarzu. Starting off with kasumarzu, something a lot of people consider to be the most dangerous cheese in the world, because it is rich in live maggots, and it is eaten as a serious delicacy in the small city of Sardinia, Italy. Kasumarzu literally means spoiled cheese, something that is usually thrown away. But as they say, one man's trash is another man's cheese, especially when it has maggots. That's how the saying goes, right? This dish is made from the milk of the pecorino sheep found in Sardinia. After the cheese is prepared, the farmers introduce the eggs of a fly, and not just any fly, but those of a peculiar cheese fly. The eggs are deliberately introduced to the cheese and left for about 3 months. And when the eggs hatch, the maggots start eating the cheese, and their digestive enzymes break it down, making it extremely soft. By the time the cheese is ready to be served, there are literally thousands of maggots in one stack of cheese. It is considered unsafe to eat kasumarzu cheese because if live maggots are swallowed, they could cause serious problems for the human intestine, especially a disease called pseudomyiasis, which is seriously bad news. Additionally, the maggots can actually carry harmful bacteria that can cause other infections. If you think this is crazy, wait till you see the drink that is made from the venom of a snake. Snake wine. In the nation of Vietnam, there is a drink that is in high demand by a lot of people. It's not the whiskeys or the scotch, it's the famous snake wine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a drink that has an entire snake submerged in it and then sold to the public for consumption. And they don't just use any snake, they use the most dangerous snakes in the game, from vipers to rattlesnakes and especially cobras. The live snake is put in a mixture of rice wine or grain wine, and then it dies and releases its venom. That gets broken down by the alcohol, which gives the wine its peculiar taste and properties. The funny thing about snake wine is that it is mainly taken by men, and it is for a very peculiar reason. Apparently, snake wine makes the men stronger and better in bed, which means men have been drinking snake wine, a drink that contains some of the most venomous toxins in history, just so they can get better in bed. And it's not just snakes that's on the menu. There's scorpion wine, centipedes, and basically anything venomous that can be put in a bottle. Before we go on, be sure to subscribe to Tentastic, because we're always bringing you fascinating videos like this, and we're trying to get to 5,000 subs before the end of the year. So help us reach our goal. Do it. Do it for the snake wine. Bird's nest soup. Now let's talk about the bird's nest soup. In Asia, one of the most expensive and in-demand foods is actually food that's made from the nest of a bird, and that's the charming and majestic bird called the swiftlet. Swiftlets produce an edible nest by secreting a protein-rich compound from their mouth, which they use to build their nests. A couple of centuries back, someone in China realized that these nests could not only be eaten, but they also had numerous health benefits. To this day, the nests of swiftlets are so rare, and they are mostly found in caves. So there's a group of people called basiadors who climb extremely high and dangerous areas just to get their hands on one. Not only is this practice dangerous, but it also leads to a decrease in the swiftlet population by about 88%. Causing the price for swiftlet nests to cost thousands of dollars. Even to this day, swiftlet nests are extremely expensive, being mostly consumed for their unique taste and health benefits. Yet it is still mostly hard to imagine that all this fuss is being made over a bird's nest, something the animal literally vomits. Sanakiji. So far, we've talked about eating maggots, bird's nests, and even wine with snakes in them. But in South Korea, these guys have taken it to a whole other level. They eat an entire octopus while it is still alive. Sanakiji is a meal that is prepared with a small octopus called nakiji, which roughly translates to baby octopus. It's dosed with sesame seeds and sesame oil, and then eaten. In some regions, they slice the octopus and serve it on the plate. But even when it's sliced, the Koreans prefer to eat the meal while it is still moving. But that's not the most insane way that nakiji is consumed. Some people prefer to eat the octopus whole and complete while it is still alive and slimy. It's probably the most disturbing thing to see if you're not a Korean native, but these people love eating the octopus alive because it also has some health benefits. They say it helps to boost their stamina, especially for martial arts enthusiasts. The strange thing about this particular meal is that it's potentially dangerous, as it is a choking hazard. This is because the octopus limbs can move after it's dead, and due to its slimy nature, it can stick to the walls of your throat, making it difficult to swallow, and this can potentially end your life, meaning if you chew it wrongly, you could die. Till this day, sanakiji is enjoyed as a local cuisine by Koreans, even if there's a possibility that they might not survive the experience. Kiviak. If you think we're done with the disgusting food, guess again. This next one is really going to ruffle your feathers. You'll get that joke in a minute. In the Inuit region of Greenland, there is a meal that the locals eat during a long and harsh season of winter when food is scarce. That meal is called kiviak. What makes kiviak thoroughly disturbing is the way it's made. Kiviak is made by capturing hundreds of small seabirds called auks, and then they're dead. But that's not all of it. Then a mature seal is killed, and all its organs and bones are removed, leaving just its flesh and fur. Then at least 300 dead birds are placed inside a dead seal's body. The body is then sewn shut and rubbed with a layer of fat to prevent maggots. Then the seal's body is kept under a rock for 3 months to ferment the birds inside of it. After that, they take the birds out of the body and they eat it raw, feathers and all. Kiviak is said to have a very strong smell and rancid taste, kind of like really aged cheese. Funny thing is, kiviak is served at parties and special occasions in Greenland. Rocky Mountain oysters. Now, this is a meal that's eaten in North America and some parts of South America. The first thing that you have to know about Rocky Mountain oysters is that it has nothing to do with oysters. Honestly, they're the farthest thing from that. Rocky Mountain oysters are actually bull testicles. Yeah, this is something that is loved and endorsed in parts of the United States. You see, back in the old days, cowboys only used select bulls to mate with females or cows. The other bulls had their balls cut off from a young age so they could grow fat and meaty. The balls they took became what we now call Rocky Mountain oysters. To this day, bull testicles are a celebrated delicacy in Texas, Denver, and Oklahoma. They take off the membrane covering the testicles and then chop them into thin slices, dip them in flour, then deep fry the balls out of it. You're left with a chewy and delicious platter of meat served with a variety of sauces. They sure look tasty, almost makes you forget that you're eating the testicles of an animal. Fried tarantulas. What's your first thought when you see a giant spider? You might shriek in terror and jump out the window, but when the people of Cambodia see a giant tarantula, they're literally salivating. Cambodians have a special way of breeding tarantulas. They dig holes in the ground in villages of Skuon, or they hunt the spiders in the wild, which are plentiful during certain seasons. When the spiders are caught, they are tossed in a mixture of garlic, sugar, MSG, and salt, and then they are deep fried. The meal is described as a cross between chicken and cod, with the taste being bland and having a weird texture that goes from hard to chewy. The legs are mostly stiff and bone-like. The head, however, has a bit of chewy flesh. The abdomen is where the real price is, because it has a runny feel and somewhat bitter taste, mostly because it has the abdominal fluid, organs, possible spider eggs, and excrement. No one knows exactly when the practice of eating spiders started in Cambodia, but experts think it may have been as a result of food scarcity in the Khmer Rouge area of the country. Ikizukuri. It's one thing to want your food fresh. It's another to have your food still struggling for its life as you eat it. But that's essentially the point of ikizukuri. This is a Japanese meal where the seafood is essentially still moving and alive, even though its insides have been extracted, flayed, and chopped up. If there were a horror movie for fish, then this would probably be it. In this type of sashimi, they use a culinary technique where live fish is stored close to the chef, and once a fish has been selected, the chef uses skillful knife cuts to dissect the fish in such a way that they preserve the life or the movements of the fish, and they serve the chopped up bits on top of the fish on a platter while it is still moving. It's truly horrific to look at, and the practice is heavily condemned due to concerns for the well-beings of the animals, with many saying even if you're going to eat the fish, it's just cruel to keep it alive and in pain. Raw cow organs. Now we're getting to the truly disturbing meals, because these people literally eat the feces of animals, and it's not even funny. In the Mursi tribe of Ethiopia, they're not just concerned with the meat and fat of a cow, they are also interested in the stomach contents, particularly the stomach of the cow that contains all the digested grass and even cow poo. After they take the life of the animal, they cut it open, and then they open up the guts, take away some of the excess waste, and then they dig in. By now, you're probably used to seeing animals being eaten raw, but not like this. The funny thing is, The people of Tanzania have an even weirder way of eating cow organs, and it might even be worse than this. In the Datoga tribe of Tanzania, after the men take out a cow by strangling it to make sure there is no blood loss, they hand over the cow to the women who are then in charge of processing, and the part that they love to eat the most is the stomach. They fill a small bowl with the blood of the cow, and then they fill another bowl with the bile, and then they use it as a dip. They place raw chunks of intestinal meat in either the blood or bile, and they dig in. It's hard to say which is worse, raw cow organs with poop or raw cow organs with blood and bile. Surströmming. Lastly, it's only fitting that we talk about the world's most smelly fish, surströmming. It's a Swedish canned food that contains fermented Baltic herring, and it's made by catching young herrings and then seasoning it with enough salt to prevent it from going rotten. Then it's left to ferment for at least 6 months in a can, and this gives it its acidic taste and characteristic smell, which a lot of people have described as being similar to sewage. The smell from surströmming is so overwhelming that it is advised to open it outside and not indoors, so you don't have to keep dealing with it well after it's been eaten. With a popular German food critic saying that the biggest challenge with surströmming is resisting the urge to vomit before you've had your first bite, which is saying a lot. So that's about it for our list of weird and extremely disturbing foods and delicacies around the world. What are some meals that you find disturbing in your side of the world? Let us know in the comments below.